I don't know that. No, I don't know that. I think that's the norm.
Good evening, everyone. This work session meeting of the Lancaster City Council is called to order on Monday, July the 20th at 2026 at 7:02. Council, we got a full plate tonight. And our first item on the agenda, City Secretary,
Discuss and receive a presentation from Atmos Energy.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, Atmos Energy has been a strategic partner of the cities, even before they were Atmos Energy, back when they had a different name. And last year, for the first time in many, many years, they came out and they will update to you about all the projects that are going on in the community and what's taking place and how it's impacting our residents. And so we made this an annual opportunity. It gives them an opportunity to engage with you all, to let you know the infrastructure they're putting in place, the measures they go about to be safety, as well as their community engagement. They are very good strategic partners of ours on numerous events. And we have Ms. Kimberly Smith and team. And Kimberly is the public affairs manager, supports our region and works with us very closely. So we will turn her, all the presentations have been put in your Dropbox. But Kimberly and her team will come forward and give you the annual update and ideally answer any questions you all may have.
Thank you so much. I think you just completed the presentation for me.
We're done.
So, as city manager said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I heard there's a full agenda to just take time to hear from us today. This gives us an opportunity to kind of step out of our offices and share a little bit about what we've done in your city and how we're investing, and how not only in just making sure that we're modernizing the pipe and keeping our service to you reliable, but also how we're supporting the community that you care about. And so before we get started, I do want to introduce or allow some introductions for my team. So go ahead, Mario.
So my name is Mario Garfias. I'm the operations supervisor, and I support this area. I cover the construction department. We're responsible for the construction and maintenance. I did have the projects. I was just recently went over to a new supervisor, so hopefully on future meetings we'll start including him and kind of discuss on the project side. But I kind of handle like the everyday maintenance and maintenance on the construction side.
All right. I'm Crescencio Gonzalez. I do go by Chris. That usually helps everybody out. But I am over the service department, operations supervisor. I do handle the, in this area, the service side. So emergencies, responding to emergencies, the technicians go out, reading the gas meter, restoring service, adding new meters. When you name it, we do it. That's what we, the part that I help out with.
So just to go ahead and get started here, my appointment somewhere. Oh, thank you. So before we just focus on Lancaster, I'd like to provide a little bit of perspective about Atmos Energy. So we serve 3.4 million customers and across 8 states, and including more than 1.8 million here in our Mid-Tex division, which is where Lancaster sits. Last year we invested over in 2024 we invested over $2.9 billion. I believe in our fiscal year 25 we invested about $3.6 billion of capital investment across our 8 states. While these numbers represent a large company and territory, our commitment remains local, and that's what we want to make sure that we get across to you. That our commitment doesn't change. We're continuing to invest in Lancaster and the priorities, in your priorities and continued growth. And as a regulated utility, we operate under federal and state safety, environmental, and operations requirements. But our approach goes beyond being just compliant. We are very focused on our cities and towns, just like you are here at Lancaster. So Lancaster, again, is part of our Mid-Tex division, And as the city continues to grow, our role is to ensure that the natural gas infrastructure is ready to safely support new housing, commercial development, manufacturing, schools, and community facilities. So here you see a picture of, this is a good representation or snapshot of our partnership here in Lancaster. And so in 2025, we served just a little under 5,300 customers here in Lancaster. Our capital investment in our fiscal 25 was $13 million here, and which brought us up to just a little under $26 million since 2021. We serve you with 66 employees out of our Waxahachie Service Center. That's where these guys work. 67 if you count me, Mayor. And we live and work right here in these communities. And so last year, our community investment, partnership investment that Ms. Opal alluded to was $43,722 right here in Lancaster. So just to tell you a little bit about our comprehensive environmental strategy and how it supports a lower carbon future. We're not just focused on providing the natural gas to you, but we want to make sure that we are a good steward here with the environment. And so we have 5 key areas that we focus on that where we are paying attention to our methane emissions, making sure that
So we actually add an additive to make that gas smell, and so we just kind of include this here. We always refer back to Rosie the skunk. So if you ever smelled that gas smell, it just kind of smells like a skunk. So here is our homeowner safety. We like to include this because it kind of shows a little bit of how the lines are ran. So here we have our main line, and then from the main line, what we call a service tap that runs the service up to the meter. So that's how the residents get gas, where the homeowner is responsible for a certain portion, like water department, and the customer is responsible for a certain part, and then we're responsible for a certain part. That's just showing that. So depending on the meter, so if the meter's at the house, then Atmos Energy will be responsible for everything up to the house, up to the meter. And then sometimes we have situations where, like, in alleys where the meter is up at the property line, and so Atmos will be responsible for everything up to the meter, and then everything going through the yard will be on the customer side.
And I would just add to that, you may see a lot of maybe the older homes, meter sets were closer to the alley or on the street. You might live in a house where your meter is in your right at the end of your driveway in the alley or something like that. But I think now we try to put them right next to the house.
Yes.
On the new builds and different things like that for safety. And if there's a leak on the pipeline, it's past the meter, it's the customer's responsibility. So that helps to alleviate some of that the prohibitive cost that comes with when there's a leak on the pipe.
So leak detection and monitoring is something that we do continuously. So we have a certain department that will go out and do surveys, leak monitoring and detection. So they do, it's kind of being, instead of reactive, we're being proactive. So they're on a timeline on when they survey those lines just to look for any issues before they become issues. So that's what our leak detection and monitoring is. And let me see, go ahead. Sorry, I just seen. So we do grade our leaks. We have a grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. Grade 1 is what we consider an emergency, and that's something that we'll fix at that point in time there. And then our grade 2 is something that's non-emergency, where we have so many days to fix it. I would say, like, if some people think, hey, gas leak is a gas leak, but sometimes they're real small. Like I would attribute it to like, or I would correlate it to like a water leak. Like if you just got a small little drip at your water faucet, or maybe something small. So that's what a grade 2. And then a grade 3 is just something that's on the meter, real small. But we have a timeline to fix all of them. And once we identify the leaks, so as I said, the grade 1s will be repaired right away. The grade 2s and grade 3s gives us a little bit more time to repair it, but we do monitor them constantly. So just in case it's not turning into a bigger problem. So we do monitor once we identify the grade 2s and grade 3s. We don't just grade them and then just kind of let them sit until we get to them. There's a continuous monitoring that we do. And this is the car that we use for the leak detections. We know it as AMLD. And so what it is just a vehicle. I always tell people that it looks like the Google car. We do drive it at night. And the reason why I say that is because it has a little sensors on the top. It kind of looks like the Google car, but it's real sensitive. We drive it at night, and what it does, it picks up indications. So as it's driving around the neighborhood, it picks up any indications. And once we identify those indications, we have people that go back and kind of will look and see if those indications are actually something, because they could be a false positive indication, and so we do go back and check those indications.
So just circling back to how we want to be a trusted partner here in Lancaster. We have a Fueling Safe and Thriving Communities program that we administer our philanthropic giving through. And we have 3 key areas that we focus on, and we partner with the city. So fueling bright minds and healthy futures for our kids is one, and that's all about making sure that kids are reading at grade level by 3rd grade. And we also fuel honor and thanks for our community heroes. And we've had some great opportunities to partner here in Lancaster. I think you guys remember Al. He was able to support with some sensitive equipment. That was the picture that was back there a little bit a few years ago. So we feed and just show appreciation to our first responders. We do partner quite a bit with the fire department when on leak investigations. I guess if there's a cut line or something like that, we have to partner with the fire department.
One thing I'll add to that, anytime we present that there is potential hazard, we will call 911, just to let, make the area safe. And then also, one thing we're trying to get the fire department also to understand is that even though they might show up, we still got to call. All right, we still have to make that phone call. They don't like it, we don't like it, but we do it just to show, hey, we did do our job. We are following our procedures, because that is something that we instill in the procedures to make sure we call them anytime. So that's one thing I wanted to add on.
Oh, and the last one was fueling hope and growth for our neighbors. And so we recognize that a lot of our community needs support, and so we partner with you to make sure that we can get that support out to them. So one of those ways with fueling bright minds and healthy futures for our kids was, and I think we have another, we're going to be able to do that again this year, was the end of year summer bash, where we helped to support by providing a donation to purchase backpacks, school supplies for the kids as they got ready for school, and we were able to come out on that day and participate at that wonderful event. And here, this was a unique opportunity. Not exactly here in Lancaster, but your EMS departments utilize the trauma center at Methodist Charlton. And so we were able to make a donation to them to support, and you can barely see it behind us all there. It's an EMS room where first responders are able to go and do their paperwork, kind of refresh before their next call, before they go out for the next call. We've also gone out there and done burgers and different things like that for anybody who shows up. So again, it's just a great way to show appreciation. And then lastly here, we also fuel hope and growth for our neighbors. And you might be familiar with Society of St. Vincent de Paul right over here. We have a great partnership with them where we provide sharing the warmth dollars, and that helps to provide utility assistance for those who are in need. Right here we had an event where we helped to support with some energy savings kits and loaded up cars with food at their monthly PAN event for seniors. And that wasn't just a fun event. We got to interact quite a bit with the seniors, but also just do some good in the community with that. And so they're a great partner of ours, along with many other organizations right here in Lancaster.
So if you didn't kind of, economic growth, going back to those numbers, I know earlier you've seen all those numbers of how much money we're investing. Really, that boils down to all the projects. I know you see it right now going on in the neighborhoods where we're upgrading infrastructure, and that's what this slide is just talking about. It's just talking about all the growth that's going on, all the upgrades that we're doing. We're identifying old infrastructure and getting those lines replaced. That earlier slide where you've seen all the dollars and all the capital spend that we were doing, that pretty much boils down to all the projects that we're doing.
And just to say, we can't say how much we appreciate the partnership here in the city. We've had to partner quite a bit on projects, meetings and calls, and kind of going back and forth, emails and different things like that. And the city is always responsive, always willing to help us. Permitting issues and things like that, with great understanding and a willingness to support what we are trying to do. And hopefully, as you continue to grow, we'll be out ahead of that, providing the pipe that you need, that needs to be in the ground with that investment before the big businesses coming in and the homes and all those kinds of things. But we're always available, and so I'm going to hand out some information, council, and for anybody else who wants to have that just gives you an at-a-glance. I know we kind of sped through this just with respect to your meeting, but we're always available. I am your public affairs manager, and my information is always available, and you can reach out to me anytime with questions. I can always connect you to our experts here who can help navigate any issues that come up here in the city. But thank you again so much for your time. We appreciate this, and look forward to continuing our partnership for many years to come.
Tim, how long you been with the city, Lancaster?
Oh, here in Lancaster, in this role, I think I'm in my third year.
All right. Well, thank you for being number 67.
I'm not good. Oh, number 67. That's right. That's right. Yeah. And other than that, I'll be here. So if the Lord says the same. All right. Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, council, that leads us to item number 2, City Secretary.
Receive and discuss an annual update presentation from Star Transit on transportation services within the city of Lancaster.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, you all will recall that at last fiscal year, we entered into an agreement with Star Transit to provide transportation services, and they've been providing you all with monthly reports showing you where and how much utilization we are having. I know it was a question you all wanted to see, will our residents take to public transportation? And hopefully you're seeing those reports and seeing the utilization, particularly the number of seniors that are taking advantage of the program that we're offering. As a part of that agreement, you recall that Star Transit was going to do us an annual update and provide an overview of where we are and kind of what's to come. And so we are fortunate tonight to have the executive director and the deputy executive director from Star Transit here to give you your annual update and presentation for our transportation services program.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, City Manager, for having us tonight. And I just want to say a quick thank you to Mayor and City Council for the partnership. As mentioned, we're in year 1, and so a lot of success in the first year. Just looking over ridership report this past month, we hit the 20,000 ride milestone. I think we're on pace to hit 25,000 this first year. So, as the city manager said, kind of testing to see how the service would roll out and would the residents use it. I'm going to let Kim go over the details, but positive ridership in year 1, and really kind of already at a point where we're talking about what are next steps and to continue to grow the service. Also want to say a quick thank you to our point of contact here at the city, Vershawn Ford, has done a great job working with us on a monthly basis and keeping in contact and making sure that you guys have the ridership reports on a timely manner, and so we appreciate the work that he does as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenter. Y'all got another Kimberly to present tonight, so Kim Britton will go ahead and
Thank you
roll
very
through
much.
the PowerPoint.
Yep, we'll go through this pretty quickly. I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for questions. So just a little bit about who we are. We've been providing public transportation for over 45 years. We are a political subdivision of the state of Texas. Our main office is in the city of Terrell. We provide about 235,000 trips a year with about a little over 80, I think we're up to 88 employees, and then we put about 55 to 60 vehicles on the road every day. We are the 4th largest transit agency in this area without a dedicated sales tax. And then, as you guys have said, we launched microtransit and demand response service in Lancaster in October of last year. So where do we operate? Kaufman County, Rockwall County, Seagoville, Box Springs, Mesquite, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, and then as of October of last year, Lancaster, Hutchins, and Wilmer. We also provide some limited service in Ellis County. We have one vehicle that operates in and around that area through a area agency. Let's do that every time. AAA. Grant, a Title IIIB grant, and so we're not the designated public transportation provider there, but we have some that we do. Our service area covers over 1,000 square miles, and the population is over 730,000 people. So the first service, we have 2 services. The first is our demand response. This is origin to destination, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Trips can be booked 1 business day up to 2 weeks in advance. Our call center, you call and book that trip through our call center, which is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's anyone in Lancaster. You just have to be 13 or above to ride by yourself. One thing I'll point out before I forget, all of our vehicles are ADA compliant. So if someone uses a mobility device, they are able to utilize our service. We don't, all of them are ADA compliant, so then that way it doesn't matter which vehicle gets dispatched. They're able to, let's say somebody starts using a walker, then we're able to pick them up. You can go anywhere within the city and the surrounding service area, And then we do go outside of the service area for medical appointments. So if someone needs to get to the VA, Parkland, Baylor, we're able to, they use our pre-book service to do that. Fares are based on distance. They range between $2 and $12, and that's for those that are 13 to 59. Those that are 60 plus veteran or disabled riders, it's half fare. So the most they'll pay for a trip is $6 each way. That's for a trip that's 25 miles plus. So it doesn't get as expensive. And then PCAs, personal care attendants, and children 12 and under do ride free with an adult fare. We also have a program called our Client Advocate Program, and that's staff that can travel with those that might need some additional help. So if someone is visually impaired and wants to go shopping, we can provide a staff member to go with them and help shop, or if they need some help going to a doctor's office, then we have staff available that can do that. And then it does not cost that rider or our partners anything additional. That's a fully funded grant. Next is our microtransit. This is basically, this was designed to provide same-day service. It's just like demand response. It's curb to curb, and they pick you up, take you where you want to go, and bring you back. This operates a little bit differently from the time standpoint. It's Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Trips can be booked on our app. So same-day trips can be booked on the app, plus they can book by calling the call center. We don't publicize, but our call center is available starting around 4:30, 5 o'clock for those that are booking trips in that early hour. Again, this is for anyone in Lancaster, and 13 or above can ride by themselves. It's a little bit different from a destination standpoint. You can go anywhere you want to within the Lancaster zone, and I'll show you what that looks like on the next slide. But then it also, which is the city limits, I might say, but this also includes the UNT station, the Camp Wisdom station, Cedar Valley College, Cedar Valley campus, the UNT campus, and then Paul Quinn College. So they can go to those locations on this same-day service. Fares are a little bit different in that because you're limited to a zone, it's $2 for that 13 to 59, and then half of that dollar for the 60-plus veterans and disabled riders. We do have the ability to use promo codes on this service. So basically in November, we'll push out a vote 2026. I'm not quite sure what the code will be, but we can push that out. We put it on our Facebook page, put it in the app, and riders can use that code to go vote for free. We've also used codes for job fairs. If someone's having a job fair, if you guys had a job fair and wanted to provide free trips, then we can use a promo code to do that as well. Let's see. Oh, and then this service, we have integrated Uber X Share. So how that works is there are dedicated vehicles for this service, Star Transit vehicles. However, our vehicles do fill up, so we've added the Uber X Share element. And so if someone gets on the app or they call and our vehicle is going to take longer than an hour to get to them, they would be offered an Uber for the same price. So they would pay the $2 or $1 for an Uber trip. They can say no. And they don't have to use Uber, but would be a quicker trip because more than likely there's going to be an Uber driver that's going to be available 5-10 minutes, whereas if they're waiting on a Star Transit vehicle, it'll be a little bit longer. This is the zone. You can see it includes DeSoto, Lancaster, and then Wilmer and Hutchins, and then you can see the additional dots are those additional locations. Overall ridership, which you guys see these reports on a monthly basis. This just includes an overall total. And so we started in October with over 3,000 trips. You're probably asking why is that so high, and then it drops. We have a budget for Uber. There is a set amount of money that you guys provide for us to use for Uber. So there's a monthly limit, a daily limit, and a monthly limit. And so what we did in October was just kind of open it up and say, let's just see what happens and see how we need to back that down. Well, we needed to back that down because if we had continued that, then we would have been out of money. We would have been here 6 months ago asking for more money. So then you can see it's been pretty steady across the months that we've been here. And then average wait time is a little high, and I say little, it's quite a bit high. Our goal is 15 to 20 minutes. We like for that to be more on the 15, 16 mark. But that's when you have those two correlate. When you have a higher ridership, you're going to have a higher request. You're going to have a higher wait time just because of the availability. But overall, that looks the numbers look great. We always tell our new service areas that we give us 3 years to see an impact, and we didn't need 3 years. I mean, here you are looking at, what is that, 8 months, and we're already there. And then just to break down so you can see the Uber ridership, it's about 50% are, when you look at that, the microtransit rides, when you look at that, 50% of those are being provided by Uber. And so Lancaster is hitting the limit 75% of the time from a a daily standpoint, but it's hitting the monthly limit every single month. And just some additional stats. We have a 93% on-time performance. You can rate trips and rate drivers on the app, and so those that do add a review, we have a 95% positive. There's over 1,100 unique riders. This number was impressive because we don't see this in some of our other our city partners. 56% are voting on the 56 are booking on the app. So those that are using the Star Now service, more than half of them are booking on the app, which is good. 2% denial rate. The industry standard is 10, so we're doing pretty good in that area as well. And then, as Tommy said, we had over 20,000 trips. We've had over 20,000 trips since October. Any questions? I know I ran through that pretty quick. So before I get to the budget, any questions about service? And then moving on to budget. So for FY27, all of our in May, our board of directors votes on the cost of service for the next year. And so this year, they voted at $60.50 per hour. And so that means that Lancaster will be, to keep service levels at the same, then the budget would be just a little over $144,000, and then a little over $12,000 a month. However, to increase availability, reduce wait times, further reduce that denial rate, and then also just to add more availability, because we are kind of at that limit, then we have some options to show you for moving forward. But before I do that, I wanted to show you a breakdown of the budget and what that looks like. And so you see the number of days of service. We're providing 28 hours of dedicated vehicle service a day, which is at that $60.50 rate. The budget you guys have is $100,000 for the TNC, which is Uber. The total cost is just over $530,000. We are able to go get just over $385,000 in grants, which is great. There's actually 2 grants in place right now. And so then you see the annual cost and then the monthly cost to the city. So that's status quo. That's leaving the amount of service as is.
So the grants are still available?
Correct.
There.
So there is the RAISE grant is available for 3 years. So this will be year 2. Mm-hmm. And then there is grants available that now that we've are doing service with you guys that we'll have. It's a 5311 and a 5307 grants would be available. Good question. Yeah. So then a couple of budget consideration items that we wanted to share with you is, number 1, add additional Uber. And that is through the 5307 grant, which is a 50-50 grant. So we are saying add $25,000, which would be the city cost, when in actual it would be $50,000, because we're going to go get half of that, the other 25 from a grant. And so that would be additional cost, just over $2,000 a month, but that would add about 4,000 trips on an annual basis.
That seems to have really accelerated.
Yes.
I think we're looking at a program that really took off strong in this community.
Yes.
It accelerated with the Uber.
And people are using it, and we get questions a lot on whether or not seniors are using it, and the answer is yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they use it just as, 80% of our ridership is seniors. And so, I mean, it's not, and I use my mother as an example, seniors are not seniors that we think of.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Seniors are very active and don't see themselves as seniors.
What do you think the reason is for that? For the Uber over Just
because it's quicker. You get a quicker response. When there's availability, you're waiting 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes for a trip, whereas sometimes you could be waiting over an hour for our vehicle.
so that is your proposal then?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't provide you with this information. We want to make sure that you guys have the information you need to make the decisions on, how we move forward. And if we need, like I said, decreasing that 18-minute wait time,
Right.
decreasing that denial rate, increasing availability, then we feel like that would be adequate. The next option is an option that we've actually presented to Duncanville. We'll be speaking to DeSoto in August, and then we need to present to Cedar Hill, but it's a shared bus option. And so we would be able to get 80/20 grant money for that one. It would be one bus. It would operate, that would be a Star Transit vehicle. So then that would operate that 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but it would be more of a regional bus, and so then it would be split. The cost would be split amongst the cities that participate.
So those other cities, are they signed up with you now, or you're?
We talked to Duncanville this week. We've presented to them, but we haven't gotten an answer. Everybody's in the same situation that it's budget time, and so we're kind of in a holding pattern a little bit
Okay.
Until they
But who-
start setting
on
budgets.
that list, who is all on board?
So-
Duncanville, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster?
They're all members of Star Transit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Each one of those cities, and that's been a real positive aspect of the service this past year. Now having the city of Lancaster and Hutchins, we've been in Duncanville and Cedar Hill 2.5, 3 years now. It's really a regional service. And this is the first time, we've looked at all of these service agreements as individuals with each city.
Sure.
Right? And that's how we want it, that each service stands on its own. But this is the first time that we've presented to any of our local partners about a shared vehicle. And what that means is that one city's not taking the brunt of adding additional service, right? If this were to be a one bus option just for the city of Lancaster, we'd be looking at closer to $50,000 budget request, right? Now we're saying, well, does the city of Lancaster want to look at adding 12? The city of DeSoto look at adding 12? And because these vehicles we might pick up somebody in Lancaster and take them over to DeSoto, and that same vehicle is going to pick up somebody in DeSoto and bring them back over to Lancaster. And so it's a regional service and how it operates. And so that's another budget consideration. And that might add another 1,000 rides here in the city of Lancaster, might add another 1,000 rides in the city of DeSoto, and so on. But that's another option to consider. We would strongly encourage adding the additional Uber piece, because we see how much that's getting utilized, and we're hitting that limit.
So when you are looking at the dedicated bus that would be shared and regional, is that going to be on a set route, so that it would go Hutchins, Lancaster, DeSoto, and then it loop back, or?
So it wouldn't be on a set route like a fixed bus route, right? That's not how we operate the service in this area. It's all based on trip requests, right? It would be available to any resident in that region, whereas we've got vehicles that are more specific for City of Lancaster, specific for City of DeSoto. This one would have more of a can travel anywhere. It would probably also be the vehicle that would take individuals to doctor's appointments in Dallas, because that's kind of the shared aspect that we get right now, when, especially if we're making a trip to say Big Baylor, yeah, we want to pick up somebody in DeSoto, pick up somebody in Lancaster, and make that trip, right? And have multiple riders on the same vehicle.
I have a question concerning with this shared option that you have here. With this, is this your first time actually implementing, or would be your first time implementing something of this nature?
So-
or do you have a model in which you are using?
Yeah, so let's take Rockwall County and Kaufman County as an example. Our agreements there are with the county, right? Because we're the designated transit agency for the county. And then each one of those cities, City of Rockwall, City of Fay, Royce City, they've all got their individual contribution kind of based on ridership, right? So like we've got, I think, 6 vehicles in Rockwall County. Well, they're all shared. All those cities are contributing. The county's contributing. And so really that's kind of a shared service model in Rockwall County. Same thing in Kaufman County, very similar on a bigger scale. This is a little bit different, and this is the first time we've approached it in this area, because for 6 years it was just the city of DeSoto. And then, you know, we added Cedar Hill and Duncanville a couple years ago. Now with Lancaster, we've really got a robust regional transit service here now. And to me, it makes a little more sense for us to try to do this regionally than to put the burden on one city. Like, you know, say it's DeSoto this year, and then next year Lancaster, you know, and it's 60,000 budget increase here, 60,000 budget increase here. You know, can we look at it regionally and more on an incremental basis, where you're looking at a budget ask of maybe 12,000.
So over the year's time, do you have the dispatching where the majority of the calls go, you know, with confined just to Lancaster, or from Lancaster to Cedar Hill, or is there a way to monitor that, the dispatching on those 25,000 calls?
So the scheduling software handles that.
Okay.
I mean, from a call center capacity.
I'm just curious to see, you know, where the majority of the Lancaster, when the call comes in from Lancaster, where are they going? Are they going to Rockwall? Are they going to Dallas? Or are they really staying within the 4 cities mentioned?
Yes.
Okay.
The bulk of what we're doing is in this region, right, within that travel zone.
Okay.
And the surrounding area, and then medical trips into Dallas. We might get a trip going into Mesquite, but I don't think I've seen a Lancaster request to like somewhere in Kaufman County.
Okay, that's
or a Lancaster request going up to Rockwall County.
So it really is confined in the southern area.
Yeah, and I'll also say, since you brought that up, a more common request that we get is like Lancaster going to Waxahachie, because there's medical facilities down there. We talk about we leave our service area for medical into Dallas. Well, really, Waxahachie's closer, and they've got
traffic.
Yeah, they've got major medical there, and so we've added that as part of service.
Oh, that's added now.
Yeah,
So if a Lancaster resident wants to go to Waxahachie
for medical.
for medical,
Yep. And we've added, like, it might be a eye doctor's office, not even just major medical, but, you know, that's, again, it's an efficient trip for us to do. We've got a vehicle that operates down there, so it might even be that vehicle brings the person back, right?
but they have that option with Uber.
Well, so Uber only does our same day service, only does like Star Now, microtransit service. So they're a request going to a doctor's appointment in Dallas or even Waxahachie.
Yes.
That's going to be booked in advance. They're going to call us and say, hey, I've got this doctor's appointment next week
Right.
down in Waxahachie. They're going to book that now
Right.
that they've got it. Yeah.
Right, but the Uber system would take them to Waxahachie if it was booked well enough in advance.
Well, no. Uber is only available same day. So we're only booking those
Oh,
rides
okay.
same day. Yeah.
Because of the time.
Yep. Yeah. We can't dispatch a trip to Uber like a week
Okay.
out.
Okay. It's that day.
It's that day.
So
Yeah.
so you're doing that many same-day trips.
Wow.
Yep.
And if somebody needed a doctor's appointment on the same day, we could get them to the DART stations. Now they don't go to Waxahachie, but then they could utilize that to go
Right.
to Dallas for.
Well, being that it's been a year, I remember Uber, but it's
Yeah.
been a year, so I just needed a little refresher
You
course
bet.
on that.
Yeah, for sure. Good questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else? I think that was the last slide.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought you were gonna flip back to the last slide on that was what,
So that's going to come back to us then, city
Yeah, it
manager,
is.
for the proposals to be voted on?
Well, that's why they were wanting to hear, because it'll be incorporated into your operating budget. There's, the contract that you approved was a multi-year agreement, so there's no renewal. And you saw on the one slide she had that our current fiscal year's cost was $141,500, that one. So we're paying $11,794 a month. And just based on just keeping things status quo, we would go to the $12,000. If you want to add services, we would need to amend the agreement to add the additional services.
Sure.
Otherwise, there will be no need to bring back the agreement.
and it's based on need, isn't it?
Sure.
It's based on needs.
And you see the need with the Uber rides, then that's why you're suggesting that might be a consideration.
It'll get used.
Yes.
Well, that's what you said in the beginning, that's why everybody was choosing Uber, and we had to
Right, we
back
had to
that
back- we had to back
down.
that
You're going
down.
to be out of money
Yeah.
in 4 to 6 months.
Yep.
Okay.
That's minuscule in comparison if we were paying into Darden.
Right.
Okay. And then there is no, for the base service, what we have now, there wasn't any increases.
Not in the service, no.
No.
Now, just from a cost of service standpoint, so our rate increased a little bit, but not with, there's no service increase with that status
Right.
quo, yeah.
Okay.
So in order to increase service, there would just need to be additional dollars.
I personally would like to see both of them implemented, the increases.
It sounds like we can
I
bring
like
back an
the-
agreement for you all to consider. Keeping service the same, we can work with them and our attorney to bring one option, keeping it the same, a second agreement, which to keep it the same, there's no agreement change. Like you could just adopt, like it's done, you assign a multi-year agreement. To consider the 2 additional services, we could work with them and our attorney to figure out a way to bring back an agreement that gave you the opportunity to choose one or both.
I like the regional effort there.
Down in
We're so
Noise.
regional down on this end.
Yeah.
I like the regional effort there. And everybody sharing the cost.
I'll pass that along to the other mayors.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's just it, you know, like you said, you can't have just one city, because then that would drive that cost. You put the cost up there budgeted for all the cities contributing, okay, their own fair share, but if only one city's going to do it, you said it would spike it to about $50,000-$60,000.
Yeah, and we would keep it to where whatever service level has been agreed to, that's what, if it's a part-time vehicle between DeSoto and Lancaster, we can do that this year, and then maybe
Just-
next year
Okay,
look
then
at.
maybe then, okay,
Yeah.
kind of extend into the other
Yeah,
cities.
yeah. But we've had positive conversations with all 3 of those cities.
For the or the one bus line sharing.
Well, just service expansion in
Yes, sir.
general.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought I heard was you would highly recommend that we consider who were asked based on your data?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So what Uber Share is basically just shared rides. And so in order for us to be qualified for those grants, they have to be shared rides. And so that's all that means. That's what's getting used now.
Any other questions, comments? Well, listen, we appreciate
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
presentation and the other key.
That's
Yes.
right. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Take care.
Council, that leads us to item number 3. City Secretary.
Discuss and receive feedback from council members regarding attendance at the Innovation Commerce Serving Communities ICSC conference.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, Councilmember Strainberg requested that we add an item to the agenda to allow those of you that participated in the Innovating Commerce Serving Communities, or better known as the ICSC Retail Conference, where with Economic Development team as well as members of staff traveled to Las Vegas to the largest retail show in the world to do business recruitment for our community. And so this item is for you all to, at Councilmember Strainberg's request, share your feedback.
Since I have been going to the ICSC for a number of years, in fact, it's been over 10 years that I've been going, and there was one other time that I was really excited about the trip, but this time it was so positive with the people that we met. There were people that wanted appointments with us. We got invited or included in to some gatherings that were private. They were by invitation only. So that was an opportunity to meet other people that you would not necessarily see on the floor. The fact that we had people asking us for appointments instead of us asking them for appointments, wanting to see us. The gentleman I mentioned the other night at the council meeting on the hotel, Homewood Suites, being able to actually visit with the person in the representative with the Hilton, with that group, was very positive about the developer and that he has a very positive. So it was good hearing that from that standpoint and being able to know that this person wanted to move forward. They had a track record with that company of doing what and producing the quality that we believe that we want to see here in the community. It was just a different feel this time. We had a lot of long hours, but it was in people talking about having come into our community and visited with people. So that was just overall positive to be able to say that to not everybody got to go this time, but those of us that did, that was my impression from having gone for a number of years and had people having to almost beg for appointments or having to come back later. So it was just very, very positive. So, Clyde?
You said it all. No, it was very, very, very rewarding, I would say, trip. And some of the things that we're seeing that are going forth, I think we met with 7-Eleven Corporation, and now they was before us the other night. And like you said, the hotel near Walmart.
The shopping center.
The shopping center.
That is on Pleasant Run and 35.
Yeah, all that.
Housing potential.
Yes.
On Houston School.
Yeah, very, very productive, I would say, because when you say productive, because you see some of the people that we talk to, they're actually implementing.
Well, they're talking,
Yeah.
they're closing on the
Yeah,
properties.
yeah, right.
And they're going to be closing on the property by a certain time and looking to move forward on improving, particularly the shopping center at Pleasant Run.
The movie theater. Is that right? The movie theater?
Where the movie theater is,
Yeah.
that they're actually,
That's
their
it.
plans are to
Yeah.
take the theater out
Yeah.
to add more retail.
It's,
And by having that as an impetus, when we were talking to other vendors or retailers, to be able to say that we had investors that were that very positively moving forward to have an area that they were going to revamp and improve and to raise the level of the vendors that are in that shopping center in comparison to what they are. So it was a
It was rewarding to talk with people that have Lancaster in mind as far as development and redevelopment.
right.
And I think everybody that had opportunity to go, that went, that everybody came back with a positive attitude and said that the trip was rewarding and productive. You know, we can have our own radio talk show. But anyway, yeah, I agree.
So Marco, did you have any input of anybody that you visited with?
Yeah, well, I approach it different than y'all because last year I got kind of embarrassed when I walked in the group with y'all because they're kind of parading us around like dogs and ponies. Like everybody's like, oh, look, this is Lancaster City Council. And I was like, this isn't my style. And if y'all know what I do for a living, three of the main things I do is construction, real estate, and grounds and maintenance. So I have a pretty good reputation. I've made a pretty good reputation. My father's made a pretty good reputation. So I don't have to go to those things anymore. And I've learned that's a lot better not to go talk to those. Most of those people that go to those retail stores, they're looking for somebody to buy the franchise. A better way to tackle it is talk to the vendors, or talk to the developers, the real estate holders, and the construction companies that build it. So to meet those people and talk to those people, you don't meet them on that floor. And that's what y'all are, I feel like you're approaching it wrong. So I've just found it that now that I've kind of gone a couple of years, people in Dallas-Fort Worth know that I go. And so now we just meet up. We go to the floor a little bit, but we meet up in other places and we talk. So the show's good and it's a good place. The show itself isn't as important as just it makes everybody go there. So you can make a better connection on a plane than you can go into the actual show because the people are just looking, unless you're looking to really buy a franchise, that's what they're there for. They're there to sell a franchise. So I think you're approaching it wrong, but y'all approach it however y'all want. I don't have a problem with that. So yeah, we just approach it completely different. You know, there's a lot of happy hours, a lot of lunches, lots of dinners. That's where you're going to meet the main players. The people that really have the money, they're going to push where they want to develop. So that's where I'm at. I already know a lot of those people. So that's kind of the way I approach it. I mean, I've never told, I probably don't do a good enough job bragging on what my family's done and the reputation that we've created in Lancaster and Dallas-Fort Worth for what we have. I'll tell you a little story that happened, I don't know, about a year ago. So I have a friend that has quite a bit of real estate on 635 and 35, kind of that Royal Lane, Walnut Hill area, light industrial properties. And another really nice property next to him came up. And he called me and said, Marco, I'll take you wherever you want to go to dinner tonight if you get over here and look at this property for me. So his name is Motorcycle Mark, so I jump in the truck. We go look at the property. I'm like, Mark, this is a really nice property. But I said, yeah, I kind of told him what my issues were. It's like, it's a great property, but it has a lot of management issues. And so he was like, oh, you know what, you're right. And I said, man, all the other things too, I was like, this is supposed to be the prime area for light industrial. But the issue, you have homeless problems, you have theft problems, you have a lot of traffic problems. Like, this is where I wouldn't invest. I wouldn't invest here. I said, I think Lancaster's a lot better for that kind of development. And I said, we're only 15 minutes from Dallas here. You know, from downtown Dallas with traffic, you're 15 minutes. So I said, it kind of heads or tails it. So anyways, Mark, next morning, another broker, real estate broker, walked into his office and said, Mark, I heard you're looking at that building. What did you think? And Mark says, my buddy from Lancaster didn't like it. And my buddy's response was, how do you know Marco? I never talked to either one of them about knowing each other. But his response when he said light industrial, real estate, Lancaster, he automatically knew. So that's the reputation I made. So y'all approach the show however y'all want. It's perfectly fine. I think it's inefficient, and I think it was embarrassing, you know, kind of getting paraded around like dog and ponies, not my style. So y'all approach it however y'all want, but if y'all are upset I didn't go to the floor with y'all, I think I was probably more successful in some of the stuff I did and bringing attention to Lancaster than what y'all did. But y'all approach it however y'all want.
One thing we did go to the floor, but just like Carol said, we had an opportunity because we were invited by developers and companies because they were interested in coming to Lancaster. Most of the time we go to the floor, we go to thank those who are already here in Lancaster. And that's where the footwork came in. I don't know about you, Cap, but most of my footwork is going to the companies that are already located here in Lancaster to thank them for being a part of Lancaster. Now, in between that, we might talk to a couple of companies that we would be interested in them coming to Lancaster. But it was rewarding, and I've been a couple times, but I think that this year has really been a rewarding year because we see it. We were invited. Again, some of the things that you see now that are happening in our meetings is because we were invited to the different developers and companies in their private meeting. So that's awesome. You have anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay. Any questions, any comments? All right, we will move to item number 4. City Secretary.
Discuss the 2026 draft future land use plan of the comprehensive plan concerning the technology, logistics, and manufacturing land use category.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, our Development Services Director, Vicki Coleman, is going to come in and provide a presentation. One of the things you'll recall is that we've contracted with a firm to do our comprehensive plan update. And as a part of that update, we had numbers of charrettes. We had individual meetings where the consultant had meetings with landowners, they had meetings with developers, and all of you all were a part of the committee presentation. One of the outcomes of that presentation was a new land use designation that focused on data centers and technology. And during strategic planning, as you all discussed, looking at how that's done, before we spent additional resources finalizing this plan, we thought it'd be important because the process is this has to go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, all the public hearings, we have to do the citywide notifications, and then bring this to you all for final adoption before the total plan is updated. And this is one of the areas that there was a lot of conversation amongst you all and the committee about the new land designation. So we felt it important before we go to the next step and break, because this is kind of the piece that will take us to finalization, that we brought this to you all to make sure before we go through these steps that this is something you want to continue moving forward as a part of it, because it's new land designation. So Vicki's going to walk you through what the plan, what the category is, what it looks like, and really we need to hear your feedback as we kind of plan to go forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As Opal mentioned, we have spent probably the greater part of the last year really trying to work and finalize the comprehensive plan. The map that's shown before you here is a draft of that future land use map. Opal mentioned that we have an area, specifically a targeted area that we want to really kind of discuss and explore. Lights up. I'll just step up here. This area right in here, we're going to spend a little bit more time. We're looking for policy direction from you. There have been a number of changes that have been occurring in the area. And so, again, we want to look at that target area, discuss a couple of considerations that we'd like you to weigh in and look for where there may be some opportunities to look or consider other potential uses. And so the area that I just pointed out, you can see it's bound by Loop 9. And that area, during the comprehensive planning conversations, there was discussion about changing that to the technology distribution uses, just giving a little bit of history based on maybe some of the changes that you saw that were happening just across the county line, right? So I'll point this out. This essentially here is the Dallas County City of Lancaster line. This is Loop 9. And then, of course, it's bound by Dallas Avenue. So as part of those conversations, the discussion was largely by the steering committee was to consider designating that area as technology and distribution. And so with the current designation of what the comprehensive plan calls for, it is currently designated under the 2016 comprehensive plan as rural living. And so this particular change with the draft plan will change that, moving it from low density residential to allow uses, manufacturing, data center uses. And so it's important for us to come back and again make sure that you're having an opportunity to weigh in on this significant change. So we want to talk a little bit about why we're bringing this back before you and what some of those changes have been occurring over the last couple of years with respect to development, right? A lot of data center uses have started to develop in the area. Specifically, the city has approved 10 sites. Of those 10, 2 are currently under construction. Most of what you're seeing is on the east side of town. The construction of Loop 9. Now, one of the changes that has not occurred, of course, is we're still in the Rocket Water Utility District in this particular area. And so as far as infrastructure, our sanitary sewer, that's largely going to be driven by development coming in the area and what's going to be proposed.
Excuse me, did you say
Yes, sir.
you go 10 sites?
The City Council has approved 10 sites
For what?
that allow data center uses to come in.
Okay.
And so what's important is with this particular change in land use, taking it from rural living, which would be low density 1 to 2 unit to the acre residential, to what is currently going to be proposed in this draft, which would be the technology, logistics, distribution. It creates the opportunity for more uses that come in and would essentially align with that. And we bring it up, and it's important because we get a lot of inquiries about it, because many are aware of this potential change based on the draft that has currently been prepared.
For the comprehensive plan.
Yes, sir. And so what you have here is just a comparison. It gives you the opportunity to see what it's currently, as it's adopted today, what it allows for with the rural living. Again, single family 1 to 2 units to the acre, and what the draft plan, the technology, logistics, manufacturing, what that allows for. And so disparate uses in terms of what you could do now versus what you'd be able to do under the new designation if that were to be approved. But again, what we're looking for you is, in light of some of the recent changes that have come based on zoning, just to consider, is this still going to be the most appropriate use moving forward, just in light of a lot of concerns that have come from the community and other maybe environmental considerations, that we thought it more appropriate for you to come back and just weigh in and just provide staff some direction.
So under the comprehensive plan, what do they put in there right now?
Currently, it's rural living, which is residential 1 to 2 units to the acre.
That's what the comp plan that when we
2016.
when we paid the consultants. What are the new consultants? What do they?
This is the draft, sir. Technology, logistics, and the manufacturing.
Right, manufacturing.
So what's spurring this to come back and talk about it? If that's what we already had a committee, already proposed this forward, and why we?
Because you all at strategic plan talked about you wanted to evaluate whether or not you continue to expand data centers, and so this is going to change your comp plan to add that. And because of the designation, it doesn't have to be a data center. Light manufacturing, the way this category is set up,
for
it could be industrial.
But if you go back to the picture we just
manufacturing.
showed where Red Oak is pushing all the way to our border.
Absolutely.
So I mean, the problem is the goal of having high-end residential, any kind of residential, there, probably not going to happen. You have to kind of match the hatch. And if they put data centers there, then we had to go with technology, logistics, and manufacturing.
And we're not
Yeah.
saying don't. What we're saying is you all
Right.
said you wanted
I'm
to
just-
talk about it.
You know, the
and-
problem is that the road's already been started, so you can't start another point. You got to kind of start with what they have and keep going.
Well, it's your plan, and so we're
Right,
only
right, right.
going by our council's plan, and it's not just data centers. I think is the key we're trying to make sure you understand, because it could be light manufacturing, it could be industrial.
That's what I was going to ask you, City Manager.
Industrial,
So
heavy
these
industrial.
are-
Manufacturing
These
and light
are
industrial.
additional uses.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I didn't understand you.
It's not just data centers, right?
No.
And these are additional uses
That is correct.
for that land. And now, can you go back to the comparison? I was looking to see if I had that in my package.
It's up
It's updated
it's in your
on,
Dropbox. The
Because I
presentations are all
can't
in
see
your
the
Dropbox.
comparison on the thing. I thought I had it in my phone. But I just wanted to make sure I had, so it's uploaded online.
So Ms. Coleman, can you go back to the slide with the map and just refresh our memory
So,
what a catalyst zone is, please?
so
That butts up right up against it.
this area here, there's the number of areas that are designated as catalyst zones, right? The catalyst zones really are driven based on where they happen to be located. There are some catalyst zones that are there to encourage redevelopment, and what we're looking for is that developer. We could provide a little bit more flexibility based on what they may be proposing. So if the need is really that of redevelopment, then that may be the primary focus. If you're up in, for example, the campus district, depending on what you may be proposing, that what we have the potential in terms of incentivizing, maybe something related more to infrastructure, but again, whether it's the incentive, it's going to be based off what you're proposing and what the need for that area happens to be.
So there's a possibility that that catalyst zone that's right up against it, divided by Loop 9, that could actually turn into a technology, data-driven, light industrial area as well.
Well, in that particular area along Loop 9, really the base of that is still, it's still low density. There is a zoning in that area that encompasses a portion of that that's already in place, but most of that is going to be, it's green. And so when I say green, it's never been developed, if you're specifically talking about
Right.
this area
right.
here.
But there's a chance that that could turn to the light industrial. What we're talking about, that little pocket there.
This pocket here, not so much. This is not what this has been
That's
designated
where
for.
Western Hills is.
It's this area right here
Right.
specifically.
Right, I got that, but there's a chance that a catalyst zone, that could turn into the gray zone.
The gray zone is a specific designation, like the comp plan update is literally calling out for this new land use designation only in that area.
Right.
Not the area,
are we talking about?
just the small
Just
area,
this
in
gray
gray,
area.
just the little
There's
gray
this
area.
area.
Just
The gray
here.
area here.
The problem is Red Oak, all south of that is just they're going that.
And this is the same inset right here. This
Yeah.
is Loop 9. This is the county line. And then this is Dallas
I
Avenue.
just drove down that road. I don't know if it used to be Reindeer Road. I don't know what it is, if it's still Reindeer, but I just drove down that the other day, and they got all kind. They got data centers. They have another company. I forgot what the name of it is, but they got that provides some kind of containers that go to data centers. The whole area is just manufacturing and light industrial or data centers. So it's just I don't think we're gonna get anything else in there.
Yeah.
And if you just want it to be data center, right, so the.
No, I think this is it's a lot more versatile. I don't want to
Yeah,
lock in.
that's what I was saying.
I hate to lock into anything.
We're just trying to make sure before we bring it
Because
forward.
I mean,
I don't
at some
think-
point this data center thing is going to stop, and so you have to keep it open for something else. So I think manufacturing and technology are great add-ons.
I don't think that the temperature in here where we just want data centers. I think it's it's manufacturing and technology.
I'm happy
all
with
that.
what's there.
I don't.
Yeah, I think
I do.
we should just go with
what we have.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Just
is
leave
there,
it as your feedback.
is, I'm seeing in the area that butts up to 35, are we hurting ourselves by putting that as in that catalyst zone that we're keeping from having the retail that could be fronted right on 35?
So I want to make sure we're not talking about catalyst zones tonight. We're only speaking
Of the gray
solely
zone, that's
of,
it.
and
Gray zone.
the only gray, the only
Yeah.
thing we're talking about tonight,
Okay.
this designation is that one spot. That's the only
I think
place on the
I think
track
everything
plan
else
that
looks
you have
good. I
there.
remember being in this room during COVID when we were discussing that, and I remember the little pocket there at the little red spot that was designed for perhaps a logistic for transportation hub. I remember correctly. So I remember that, and I remember there being a mixture, basically Dallas Avenue and westward, that all looks good to me. And I remember Dallas Avenue and eastward, those were your prime properties for acre ranches and high-end homes and that type of aesthetic living out that way. So if that's what it takes, I mean, if we're talking just that little piece, let's just make it and put it forward and let's move.
Is that including technology?
Yes.
Yeah, she had the other.
Technology,
No, I'm asking,
logistics.
yeah.
She had the
Materials
slide.
manufacturing.
Okay, no problem.
So I would like to, because there's so many rumors out there. We have people who are talking that this is going to pollute our groundwater. But what are the real facts? I pulled up, I know in talking to someone with Skybox the other day, that with their closed loop system, we talked about the water usage. Then they talked about how many gallons, and it was like, well, that's kind of what we water our yard for the year. That was their usage. But what about the power? Where can we get this down to where we have the facts and not all this stuff that's out there, so we know what we're dealing with? Because we have to answer to the citizens when they come in with these stories that other communities are coming up with. You know, they're even, Abbott's says he wants to do a stop, but I think that's all political. So where can we get more detail information?
So because that wasn't on here, what we can do is there are a number of, you pick the source, and there are articles, there are news articles, there are publications. We can share links to that information, but it's kind of difficult to go into that conversation because that wasn't the agenda item.
No, I know.
Here's what I can say. So I've been doing a lot of research and watching, nowadays with YouTube and all these other Instagrams, there's a lot of ways to get information. There's never been more information at a person's fingertips than today. All you have to do is apply yourself to find it. So I've been doing a ton of research, whether it's reading or watching YouTube interviews, and I'm actually trying to work the numbers right now. I'm doing my own little thing. But you can throw big numbers out there on big development, and it seems shocking and scary. I get it. But the problem is, like, when you hear about the brown water or the less water in the area, that doesn't really, you got to ask, well, they're on well water, correct? So what state is it being built in? So when they talk about a shortage of water, it's because that data center and that house are on the same well, the same aquifer. So when they pull out of that aquifer, yeah, there probably is a shortage of water for the houses around it. But that's not an issue that Lancaster has, because we buy water from the city of Dallas and we don't have wells. Two, a lot of these developments are on 800 to 1,000 acres, and you hear, 20 million gallons, 30 million gallons of water. My argument, and this is what I'm working on right now, if you get that same development, say it's 800 acres, and you do quarter-acre houses on 800 acres, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, I'm working on it right now, but say those are 600 homes on 800 acres. By the time you have easements and streets and stuff like that, you probably get more, but let's just throw 600 out there. What I'm working on is getting the average usage of water for that house on a quarter acre for 2.5 people that water the grass, that shower twice a day, that cook and clean and do all that and figure out what that usage of water is and multiply it times 600. And I feel like, I haven't done the numbers, but I feel like those numbers are going to be pretty close. So the issue is, when you hear these numbers, yes, they're big, but what is it compared to another development?
So just coming back to what Opal brought up, we do want to stick to being on the.
We want to stick with what's on the agenda. Now,
Okay, so what I was saying was about the agenda,
discussion.
because it's about data center, so.
It was up for discussion. The
agenda item was about the land use update.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
so where does this put us? City.
We will move forward with the process, so the entire land use map, future land use map, will go forward with the public noticing, the Planning and Zoning Commission, public hearing, and then they will bring forward their recommendation and it will come before the City Council for a public hearing, and the future land use map would then be brought for you all for consideration. And because that is just the future land use map,
Right.
unless you all move forward with actually going through the city initiated zoning, it'll be like any other item we bring before you today, where it says this is what the comp plan recommends.
Okay.
Then unless we do the actual zoning change, it'll still have its current
Right.
zoning designations.
We should have the update with this taking place. I would figure that we would have the comprehensive plan finalized here by the end of this year. Is that a pretty
That's
good?
it. Yes, sir.
It's been a long time coming.
And time is moving.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? All right, that moves us to item number 5. City Secretary,
Discuss an update to the city's impact fee program.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council,
Oh, thank you.
She's fixed to present this one to me.
Oh, she is? Okay. I wasn't sure if she was trying to get past Greg or not, so.
The next item, as the city secretary noted, is our impact fee program update. And there's been some legislative changes at the state law level that requires us to do some updates to the program and how we implement the program. Vicki will walk you through the program and what our next steps look like.
Good evening again. As Opal discussed, there are a number of changes that have happened recently. I'm going to begin to just give you an overview of what impact fees are for those who aren't here, and then talk about some of those legislative changes, and then what we see coming in terms of updating our program. But what is an impact fee? For those who don't know, it really is a funding mechanism that creates cost sharing between developers that are bringing new projects to assist with building capacity into our facilities. And so it's a one-time assessment on that new development. And so it essentially, again, it creates a cost-sharing mechanism. Currently, the state of Texas, it allows for cities to assess impact fees for the following infrastructures: roadway, water, sewer, stormwater drainage, and flood control. So the cost of growth, impact fees, as I mentioned, it creates an opportunity to provide cost sharing. And so by comparison, if we did not have any impact fees, it would create a greater burden for the costs being borne by existing residents, right? Existing residents would either be paying through a future tax rate or through a rate, their utility bill rate, if it was for water or for sewer. So I'll talk a little bit about the statutory requirements that drive impact fee programs. The Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 395, it really spells out all the requirements, right? It identifies the timeframes for updating your impact fee program, as well as it establishes the technical requirements that are used in terms of calculating fees, and really identifies that administrative process. And most importantly, it identifies your capital improvement advisory committee as the committee that handles the coordination from the public's involvement. This is just an overview of the City of Lancaster's program history. The initial impact fee program was adopted and implemented in 1994. It's been updated just a few times, with the most recent time being in 2021. The city, we currently collect impact fees for just water, sewer, and roadway. So as I mentioned in your packet, there's a summary table that talks about some of the changes that have happened most recently. Under Senate Bill 1883, which became effective this past September, there were a number of changes. I will point out the most significant change is with the impact fee program. One of the amendments introduced the impact fee audit requirement. And so under this particular rule change, it is essentially requiring that if a city is going to increase a fee or adopt a new program, that prior to doing so, an impact fee audit is required. And what's a little bit different, it requires that that audit be performed by a certified public accountant that has no prior engagement experience with the city in the last 12 months. So what may be a little bit different, you're accustomed to having the audit performed. The city already has an auditor that they engage. This one has to be entirely independent of that individual or that firm, excuse me. And so also with this particular amendment, it puts some additional timeframes and notice requirements for posting that impact fee report. So one of the biggest changes or drivers behind this particular new requirement is, the state is really trying to ensure that really there's more transparency with respect to the spending for projects. As far as the program update process goes, this gives you just a general overview of that public engagement component, the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, or the CIAC. There are a number of things that the state outlines with respect to starting an update to your impact fee program. The first three, and then again, these are some of the technical components that are outlined under the Texas Local Government Code, but there are updates to land use assumptions that really look at, first and foremost, your population, your employment, how is it growing, what are your land uses, and how are the two of them really working together to project the growth that's coming in the community. There is a capital improvement plan that identifies a 10-year list of capital improvement projects and associated costs that come with that. And finally, again, there is a technical approach to identifying what is that a maximum allowable set of fees based on the two prior things, right? And so with those three things that are coordinated through the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, your committee will make recommendations to the City Council with respect to ultimately what the rates could be. And then, of course, Texas Local Government Code spells out what the public hearing requirements are. I will note that under the most recent change, there has been an increase in the total time that we have to provide notice with respect to updating any of not just the impact fee report that I mentioned, but also making the fees available to the public for them to review before the city can take action. So I'm going to talk about the technical aspects really quickly versus the policy aspects. For those that may recall, as I mentioned, there's a process where the state really spells out a formula to arriving what your maximum allowable fee is for your impact fees. And then there's the policy portion of it, right? Where you as a governing body can decide if you want to assess the fee at that maximum amount. And if not, there may be reasons where you may want to look at percentages of what those fees would be. I want to provide you, this is a a summary of the collection rates. If you will recall, when we did our most recent update to the impact fees, you will note that for water and wastewater, the maximum allowable impact fee and the collection rate are all at 100%. That was something that, as a body, you wanted to ensure that you were collecting the full amount. But when you get down to the roadway impact fee service areas, and I will tell you, the law defines how the service areas can be determined, but specifically there were decisions that were made to not assess at the full 100% collection rate, right? If I recall, most of that was related to just economic development purposes that those decisions were made. But again, this is just a summary of it. One of the most important things that I would also point out was that there was a two-step process that we did with respect to the initial collection. What we wanted the collection rate to be, we advertised it to stay the same for the first 2 years. And then after the first 2 years, beginning in the third year, we went to an increase. And so that is one of the things that, of course, is still allowable under the current statute.
By raising them, Vicki?
I'm sorry?
Is that what you're saying, to raise them in the third year? That's still...
Correct, but it has to be advertised all at once. And so if, I'll go back and point out again, if you are going to do an increase in a fee, it requires an audit. But if you advertise everything all at once of what you are going to do, in our particular case, we advertise the first 2 years, and then at the third year, if all of that is presented as part of the adoption ordinance, you can still do this without going back doing the audit.
Right. You wouldn't, so you can't do the wastewater and then 6 months do the roadway, and you can't break it up.
No. You're going to want to do all of it at one time.
So the audit is the first step.
The audit is the first step of increasing a fee or making any other changes. So for example, we do water, wastewater, and roadway. If we went and added, I'm just throwing it out there, if we added a new component, then after it had already been adopted, we would have to go through that audit process again. And a new component might be drainage or something else that is allowed under the state impact law.
So it's time to get that updated then.
It is time.
To work with, not only updating it, but also work with the changes in the whole state legislature.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So this is, again, I just wanted to highlight a couple things as far as the summary and the components of what the city would work with respect to the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee. The information, the land use assumptions, the population projections, that information is presented to them for their approval recommendations. The capital improvement plans, and this is just a highlight of the most recent. We have 3 service areas for roadway. Those service areas have identified capital improvement projects, estimated costs that go with those, and those drive, as part of the formula, what the maximum allowable impact fee could be for that particular designated area, service area. And so again, this is just a summary of it. There's a formula, again, adopted by the state for water, wastewater. We have our CCNs. This is just an example of our service area for water. The associated capital improvement project list, costs that are associated with it, to give you an idea of how that we arrive at that fee, and then how you as a body make a decision on whether we're going to stick with it.
So it's audited, it goes to the Capital Improvement Committee, and they work with them, and then that all comes before us.
Yes, sir.
Their recommendations are
their recommendation on what the rate should be.
Right, but we have the ability there to
make the final decision.
Make the final decision.
Yes, sir.
So how long is this going to take to get accomplished? It seems like we're a little bit behind on the curve.
So here are the next steps, and it would just depend on really what the next direction is in terms from the city council in terms of moving forward.
And we're bringing this to you all because the one thing, to change the fees, to do it. So we're not behind. The state law just went into effect September 1st. Our program, you adopted, you saw we did 18, then 21 the fees. It's been the 5 years, 26, so we're 5 years after. You don't have to change your fees. If you say we're good where the fees are, we do our independent audit report and you're done. We are going to go through and update the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee because you have a master plan that does have projects that could be funded out of impact fees. And so if you want to adjust the rate to accomplish more of those projects along the way, then our recommendation would be engage the auditor. We would then engage a consultant. We could pay for the consultant to do the study out of impact fees. That's allowed by the law. So it's not tapping into the water or the wastewater fund. Because the impact fees are broken up in service areas, they're only in certain parts of town that we're able to do these capital projects. That's why they're laid out in the master plan. So it's really your direction on, beyond just doing the audit, we will engage an independent auditor to be compliant with that.
In 2021, isn't that what did we do that in 2021?
That was
Yes,
the
sir.
last time.
That's the last.
Yes, man.
I remember
We
that
did.
slide with the 2 years and then 3 years. I remember that.
So I would add, and I do think it's important, I want to ensure that you understand the way the state lays out the formula to arriving at the calculation. Remember, it's cost sharing. And so when you're totaling the number on the total cost of the projects, that drives what that impact fee is going to be. And so the result of, if you make no change, it doesn't mean that these cost of construction holds. The cost of construction will continue to go up. The contribution, right, as it pertains to that impact fee, just gets smaller and smaller. So that's something that you want to consider if you think about holding the impact fee and doing nothing.
But we also have to consider the fact that we're going to grow. And with that growth, I think we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot if we do not do anything. I think it's time for us to go on and
We need to take the next step.
Do what we have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where we go from
The next step we will do is we will go ahead and engage our third-party auditor, and we will then do a request for proposals for consideration related to a consultant doing the impact fee study update. And then that will come back to you all.
All right, thank you. Can I thank you now? Thank you, Vicki. All right, that moves us to item number 6, City Secretary.
Give a presentation and discuss the quarterly financial reports for the third quarter of FY 2026 for the period April 1, 2026 to June 30, 2026.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, our finance director, Christine Harris-Reed, will present. Lights on. She doesn't have PowerPoint. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So I'm standing before you to present the third quarter financials. So we'll start off with our investments. So tax pool for our interest for 2026 is 3.6673. Last year, this same time for 2025, it was 4.352. So there's a decrease of 0.6847. For Texas class, currently our rate ending in 630 was 3.7723. Last year in 2025, it was 44307, a decrease of 0.658. Logic ending June 30th was 3.7528. Last year, 2025, it was 4.4108, which is a decrease of 0.658. As you guys know, the interest rates are going down, but we're still good with what we about putting our funds in a pool, but they are going down. They're not as low as they were in 2020, 2021, but they're not as high as they were in 24 and 25. So overall, the city has collected 90% of its total budget, and it has expended 66%. So in the general fund, we have collected 100% of the property taxes, a little over 100% of the property taxes for the year. I know you guys may be looking and seeing that there is a negative in the quarter for this year for property tax, but last year, Dallas County started to enforce where if you had 7 days of negative receivables that they wanted you to pay it, because there were a lot of cities, not us, but there were a lot of cities that ended like with large balances at the end of the year that they had to pay back. So they just started it where you have 7 days to do it. And we have made that up. There's something that happened last year, and we also, we still ended up in a positive light. So what we also have to look at as well is that we collect majority of our property tax between December and March. So these are our slower months. So that's why we really see the negative. There are a lot of lawsuits out there where people are going and trying to get their property values lowered, especially for corporations. So that is one thing to think about, because that's taxable value that we use when they make their decisions on these cases. So general fund license and permits are down for the quarter, but they are up for the year due to all the construction that we're receiving. Also, along with that, you'll see that the expenses for building inspections are up, but they are offset by the revenue that we are receiving for the permits. Department 16 is up right now for the third quarter, and that is because we have paid out our tax incentives during the third quarter. And then civil services is a little over because that has salaries in there now. And also for public relations, we just hosted our wonderful Juneteenth, so they are a little bit above budget as well. But we will even out because we do make sure that we budget for those projects, so we expect those times and we have those money in. It's just a little bit above for that quarter. For water and wastewater, we have collected over budget, as you can see, for the revenue received, and we are on track to complete projects that we have. So we still have those fundings. Again, it's a time flow. We have some slow times and we have fast times. I know right now we are making sure that we get all of our projects completed. For economic development, revenue and taxes are 2 months behind. So although it may seem that it's a little low, we do know that they're actually 2 months behind. And then towards the end of the year, we do accrue those 2 months back to our current fiscal year. And then for debt services for LRDC, as always, it is a little higher right now, but in February, we pay our interest and principal, and in August, we only pay our principal, except for Wilmington Trust, which is the opposite. LRDC, overall, the revenue is up from last year, which is good for our Parks Department. I know that we have for our seniors, it is a little bit low, but DAA is a little bit behind. We actually had a meeting with them, but they are behind, so they have not reimbursed us for majority, if anything, for this year. So they are looking forward to catching up, but it has not hindered us from providing for our residents. And then golf is on a good track. They are meeting their target. They are at 75%. So the golf department is making sure that they meet their targets, which is something that they've been continuing for the last 2 years.
All right, any questions, comments?
On the revenues for the water, other revenues, I don't know if you clicked on it, maybe I missed it.
You said for the revenues for the waters?
Yeah, the revenues for water. I got all that. It's just fees, and then there's nothing for impact fees, and then other revenues.
So nothing for impact fees, that is the budget. So there's not a budget for the impact fees because we don't know what we're going to receive for the impact fees because we don't know how construction is. So that's why there's no actual budget there. But we have collected so far for 2026, $292,733, and that's rounding.
And that's where that dumps into that other revenue. Is that kind of
No, other revenue, Other revenue is actually just other things that would be paid money for, like if they have late fees and all those type of things that will go into the other revenue.
Miscellaneous.
Yes.
And the 29.75% for fees, is that?
The fees are budgeted at a lower amount just because you don't know what fees you're going to receive. So we don't want to assume that our residents are going to incur those type of fees. We want to lean on the side of prudentness and make sure that say that they won't.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Reed. Appreciate it. And so that moves us to item number 7, City Secretary.
Discuss and receive an update on the operations and management of Country View Golf Course for the third quarter, April 1, 2026 through June 30, 2026 of fiscal year 2025 through 2026.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, this is a written update provided in your packets. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You have any questions? I think we just heard from the finance chair that they hold their own. And they're doing pretty good job. All right, that moves us to item number 8, City Secretary.
Discuss and receive a presentation regarding the City Council's 5-year goal and objective established during the annual City Council Strategic Planning Session held on June 27, 2025 in the third quarter, April 1, 2026 through June 30, 2026 of fiscal year 2025-2026.
City Manager.
Mayor, members of council, this is a written report. Staff be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, council, do you have any questions for the city manager or staff? Seeing none, that concludes our business for tonight, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. Those who abstain, say abstain. All right, we're adjourned at 8:48.
All right, Carl, you have to do it.
You want to come or you don't need to come? I mean, it's only if you
Thank you, sir.
Well, your hand. I know what you're doing.
I just need the numbers and I'll throw that stuff up. Do you have the format for that? Thank you.
No, I'm gonna move some stuff around, but we are getting close. So I just want to be strategic about
I'm glad he was able to.
Okay, so oh, you know what? This meeting is starting.
what kind of schedule do you want to set?
It's still in the next time we talk to the council,
Really? Well, I'm definitely not.
The water, I think I'm okay. Power. Sure, I'll let you know.
I think we have a great, we do our leadership team meetings every Tuesday.
Just so Dr. Bennett, I don't want to be present there. Okay. That's why I was just saying, if it comes back on, I'll.
So we'll do it those meetings and the attorney comes.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's,
Okay, we're doing that Tuesday.
Kara. That's a good program. And it's using that schedule of days. But I've been on it ever since.
And everybody always has Tuesday. Like Tuesday.
If you look at
And then when needed, attorney. So like everybody kind of blocks out Tuesdays for great information. That's the full day. That's where I got to do that, and we just lock myself out.
I could just plan to be here like 12:30.
How it happened? Because I was putting in my username and password just like I had it written down.
Do you want to see you next week? Do you want to see me? No, not today. Can you get down?
That'd be good, because that way I could at least.
I'll call her.
We're trying to get, like, Jermaine has. Like, we're ready.
Real quick. Thursday.
So everybody will have access to the gym system. Put there your. I got Davis ready.
Yeah.
She got access to that. So you need to. Right now, until we get access to Monday, you need to put it in email and say.
Yes, email. Absolutely. Because although y'all don't have, and you technically still have the client view that's ready. I am actively creating projects on Monday, so they still need to be. I'm putting that on the board. So question. On Thursday, so one of my colleagues, Sarah, who's doing a lot of the land, will be coming on site because we're also going to meet with Coco. I wanted to see if you had some time. I can introduce her and then we could just sit down. But we have a small window.
Okay.
Pretty well.
Okay.
I'll send you an email. I already wrote it up. I just wanted to.
And that's the, yes.
Okay, I'm sending it to you now.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean Tuesdays is fine. We can just do that, and yeah, until we go live with Monday emails. Yes.
We try to.
Is this the night we're supposed to meet with you?
You joking with me? I'm like,
I see that. Wait a minute. I see it on your. Listen, you didn't frown. You had a smile.
I was like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Okay, if this is.
So a little bit. You saw a little bit.
Now, I know you see me looking at you. When he gave you a compliment. He was just smiling. He was just smiling. He was just smiling. I was looking at him. He was smiling. I was trying to get his attention when he said, "Yeah, I want to thank Bashan and his."
Our interests.
I look back there. I think I.
Show me where I can't do it.
5 minutes. You didn't even look my way.
I was that all the time. Like I you say for shame.
Wait a minute, don't bring that to my attention now. I could have used that.
You could have.
That's recorded.
That's why I went my
I know. You're messing with me. We need a car going out the door.
I know, right?
Literally. That's why I was like, the millennium. We're trying to.
No, I learned that. I remember that is that I have to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
You'll be just here.
I know.
To see.
It's gonna push and push.
To see, like, will you let me just, and then, do you really know what you're talking about? Like, literally, show me that. Like, he's publicly done that. Show me. Show me. And my boy got nervous.
Yeah, because he's not. He's not used. He's very. He doesn't like conflict.
Yeah, he doesn't like uncomfortable conversations.
He didn't even. I could tell he was uncomfortable even in our transition meeting.
Really?
Like,
I worked with you.
Yes. But he's just. That's just how he is.
It was really. Show me I can. Show me I can. Show me I can. Like it was just for someone.
Maybe you want. Sometimes you have a bad.
Like real time? Yeah, like punch out, punch in.
Ready to go home?
I'm ready to go home.
Let's get it. Hey, I like your braids. I almost didn't recognize you. I was like, okay.
I was really
Cool braids.
Get my life together.
Come on, baby. You got it. Guess where it's at?
We'll be back in here in the morning.
Yes, we will. Somebody got really bored. Okay.